Welcome back to another top 10 video. These are the top 10. These are my opinion. You can debate this if you want to. You can do your own review responses. Top 10 best Vertigo series. Yes, but this is my opinion, my list. You can agree, disagree if you want to of what you think is the best Vertigo list. What end up on your own separate list when it comes to Vertigo. One dishonorable mention to start off with. I know I might get flack for this, but here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of this series at all, especially after reviewing the 5 trades that collect this series. Even I did like an open topic video on this. Why the Last Man, Brian K. Vaughan? Not one of his best works, in my opinion. Other people may love this series, but I am not a fan of this series at all. I have nothing against people who are fans of Why Last Man. It's just that I don't like the series at all. There's maybe 3 or 4 characters who are actually written really well, and that's the main character and a couple female characters. All the rest of female characters are going to be so stupid and one-dimensional. And of course, main character's mother is an idiot and a very terrible written character. Yeah, she's good for one set of dialogue, but that's it. Yeah, not much else to say about Why the Last Man. Check out my Comic Corner reviews on what I thought about my full thoughts on Why Last Man, and the open topics video on Why Last Man. Now I have a few honorable mentions. The Neil Gaiman books. There's one actually does appear on the list, but I won't say what it is. But pretty much every other Neil Gaiman book, with the exception of one, all these books are really good. And of course, the spin-offs to my number 5 on this list, you'll love them. This is my opinion. Okay. Number 10, Preacher. I had to put this on this list because, no denying it's actually it's a really good title. And I do agree with the people saying this is a really good title. Yeah, this is something I do agree with when it comes to Preacher. Now, I did hear one person say that when this series ended, Vertigo had not been much the same. Though there have been a few titles basically released. Also, I forgot to mention The Wake by Scott Snyder. Yeah, that's another really good Vertigo title. Yep. Number 9, Astro City. What else can I say about Astro City? It's a damn good title. But this was not on the Vertigo for very long. It's only been on the Vertigo the past few years. It actually ended after 50 issues. Which at least got praised by Kurt Busiek, kept it going on for that long. I have heard something he's going to continue as a miniseries, but nothing much has come of it. Alright. Number 8, Doom Patrol Volume 2. Love this book. Though here's kind of the weird thing about this book. This book was put under the Vertigo imprint, despite the fact that the second writer's run for the book is the trades are published in Vertigo imprint. The issues are not on the Vertigo imprint at all. Yeah. One of 3 titles put on this list that Grant Morrison himself wrote. Yep, he was the second of 3 writers on this book, the first being Paul Kevelberg. I count this one because this one basically was added part of Vertigo while it was being published. Yeah, and then Grant Morrison took over with issue 20. Of course, Paul Kevelberg did the first 18 issues. Grant Morrison took over to issue 19 and left with issue 64. The last couple years, the book was done by Rachel Pollack, and that was when the book was on the Vertigo. And it was not bad on the Vertigo, just the book went a weird direction, even weirder than Grant Morrison's run. Yeah, and also Grant Morrison, in case you're wondering, the whole thing of why Mission Mala and the Brain are a couple, Grant Morrison did that. Though I've heard some people say that this title was Grant Morrison's first title. They say it was this title, they say it was The Invisibles, or it was Anal Man. There's several titles basically people claim was Grant Morrison's first DC title. Number 7, Swamp Thing by Brian K. Vaughan. Unlike Why the Last Man, this is a good Brian K. Vaughan title. Even though it lasted for 20 issues and Vertigo had a one-shot with it, it's a really dang good title. One thing, it doesn't feature the titular Swamp Thing, Alec Cullen. It features his daughter, and it's a really interesting book. I do highly recommend. In DC, they have clicked this book in trade, so you can check it out no problem. Yep. Number 6, this is a tie between Animal Man Volume 1 and Swamp Thing Volume 2. Yep, in the case of Swamp Thing Volume 2, yeah, this book went through probably as many writers as another series that basically published Vertigo for a long time. Yeah, one of 3 books published just before the start of Vertigo. That was basically a mature reader's book, and eventually added the Vertigo. Though in the case of this managed to last for a very good period of time, like under Vertigo. Though if you notice the trades for this one, just like with Doom Patrol, they're put on the Vertigo imprint even though they weren't published at that point on the Vertigo. Nope. I think when Rick Vonk basically was the writer's book, I think that's when they actually switched over to being Vertigo. Animal Man, like the same thing with Doom Patrol, the trades published on Vertigo imprint, despite the fact it wasn't toward the very end of the book. The book itself only went through about 4 different writers. First you have Grant Morrison, and you have the writer that came after, which was a very weak run. And then you have James Valentino. He had a pretty lengthy run of the book, and he had the last writer who made Animated this bird creature for the last 10 issues. But this is a really damn good book. But here's kind of the weird thing about this one. It's not finished being collected yet. No, there's still about 10 issues left. Swamp Thing Volume 2, most of it, I would say, is collected in trade, but not the entirety of it. But here's the thing. Toward the end of the run, the book was basically losing sales, and by the time the book finally ended, yeah, basically it was a book that needed to end for quite a while. Not because of how long it was, because it basically was not selling too well. After basically that period of time. Alright, number 5, and this is something that I think some people say, really? You put this as number 5 over Swamp Thing and Animal Man? Fables! Yep, Fables, 150 issue comic book. Now, you might have these complaints about the book. First complaint, it's too long. Swamp Thing Volume 2 is longer than this thing, and another Vertigo book, which actually is on this list, is even longer. It's got too many spin-offs. Two of the books basically are on this list have got many spin-offs. One, I've not read any of them yet. Neither one of these 2 are spin-offs, but Fables are a good chunk of them. Now, this is about Bill Willingham. Yes, he's probably for the only Vertigo writer that's saying the book for this long. Now, there's one book that some people really do enjoy. I haven't read it yet, but it's not on this list yet. It's not on this list, mainly because I haven't read it yet, and that's Shade the Changing by Peter Milligan. I didn't put it on the list, mainly because I haven't read it. Though a lot of these books I have read. A couple of them I haven't finished yet, but yeah, there's no denying that Fables is a damn good comic book. And yes, you do have to read from the beginning, but look out, there are deluxe editions out there that you can pretty much basically speed read through this thing pretty quickly. It's only collected, like in the deluxe was like 14 books. The original trades is like almost like 25. Yes, I do know for a fact that 150 is a really long issue, but it's well worth it. Though oddly enough, its last known series that published was Ever After got cancelled after 12 issues. No idea why, just that it was. It wasn't done by Bill Williams, it was done by Matthew Sturgis. And yes, Fables has had their own Telltale's game based on this particular series, and there's been a comic that adapted it too. Number 4, and this is basically the only Scott Snyder book that actually made this list, from Vertigo. This is a book that, for its first arc, was co-written by Stephen King himself. What book is this? American Vampire. A book that basically is still kind of going on, but hasn't been officially ended yet. It's even though it's not that long running of a series per se. I mean, it did have an ongoing series. There's a couple mini series. But this is a damn good comic book, mainly because it's about vampires who basically sort of are there for certain points in American history. That's why I enjoy it, and that's why I put it high on the list, because, yeah, and I basically did, when I did review the first trade, I even said, hashtag better than Twilight, because it is 100 times better than Twilight, because the vampires are not sparkling pricks. Or they don't sparkle, they burn to a crisp under sunlight. Yeah. Number 3, I guess some people who now I haven't read the entirety of this title yet, but I've read like first 110 issues of it. For some people, they're probably for this series, they're probably very happy to put this on this list. But they probably thought that this would have been number one because of how long the series was and how popular the character is, the main character, John Constantine. Hellblazer. Yep, Hellblazer. Another series that's really long and had a ton of spin-off titles. But yeah, and this book has gone through many writers. Heck, I think it went through more writers than frickin' Swamp Thing ever did. And that book wasn't as long as this one was. Like, oh my gosh, it's like 300 issues. The book actually ended, it started back in 1988. It actually ended back in 2013. Yeah, it published for almost 30 years. Yeah. Though the last John Constantine comic book ended just last year. This book, probably some people say, why is this book number one either? Sandman by Neil Gaiman. Yes, it is that damn good. 75 issues, got a ton of spin-off books. Heck, they kind of brought back they have a whole universe book, which actually are not that bad. I would say probably the best book under the Sandman universe books is probably Books Magic. That's my opinion, but their book's not that too bad. And last but not least, number one. And this book, people are like, really? This was your number one? Not Sandman by Neil Gaiman, not Hellblazer, not Swamp Thing. Sandman Mystery Theater by Matt Wagner. Yes, this title. I love this series. Lasted 72 issues, had an annual, had a couple spin-off miniseries. Actually, had one miniseries and one shot. Yeah. And here's the thing about this particular title. Each story arc was 4 issues long. Yep. Except for the last arc of the series. That was 2 issues. But yeah, this lasted like 6 years. But it's a damn good title. Unlike some of the Vertigo titles on this list. This one actually is entitled to Collect and Trade. American Vampire, as far as I think it has finished Collect and Trade. A lot of these other ones, they haven't finished up yet. But at least this one, yes. This one has been fully Collect and Trade. Twice, mind you. Yes, there's actually a printing of this one. A little surprising, this one has one. And here's something quite interesting about this book. It's probably one of 2 Vertigo books on this list that is canon. Yes, it is canon with DC Universe. Yeah, and it is that damn good of a title. Yes, every art had different artists on it, but it's that good. At least it had one writer, and it's really, really good. I do recommend people who are fans of pulp noir. Yes, this is a good thing for people who are fans of pulp noir stuff. This book's basically your cup of tea. Plus, if you're curious about the character Wesley Dodds, aka the original Sandman, not the Sandman from Marvel Comics. No, this one debuted 20 years prior. This series mainly took place mainly around the same time as his time in Adventure Comics, back in the 1930s. And it is that damn good. He even explains how him and his girlfriend hooked up, and how they kind of got married at the end of the series, but they never actually first got married. Nope, she was made his life partner, and everything that was his went to her nephew. Though there was one thing they did kind of contradict from continuity for this one, is her nephew sent the guy who was saying that the Golden Boy, who was Sandman's psychic. Yeah, they did kind of do a continuity error for this one, claiming he was just a fictional character in a magazine, when in actuality he was basically Sandman's psychic. Oh, in case you're wondering, he wore his original costume the whole series. He never wore the Jack Kirby costume. He wore the gas mask and suit and cape and hat. He wore that the entire series. Yep. So yeah, those are my top 10 best Vertigo comic books. If anybody wants to do a video response to this one, do their own version of a top 10 Vertigo books, go right ahead. I like to see what's on your list. Yep, so that's particularly it for this particular review, a particular top 10. If there's a series that you like that did make this list, that's okay. You have your own list of basically what you think could be the top 10 best Vertigo comics. These are my top 10 best Vertigo comics. My opinion, my list, my video, my channel. If anyone wants to do their own one of this, go right ahead. I like to see theirs. See what they think is the top 10 best Vertigo series. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I have 2 more videos coming today. Review the newest episode released for Dragon Ball Super and the newest episode of Boruto. Excuse me, okay? Until you see next video. Bye.